going to need some more? Are you prepared to go up?
News and information first for Adelaide every morning.
What kind of illnesses can you get from swimming in that contaminated water?
Breakfast on 1395. Adelaide's 5AA. Interactive radio. Tweet at 1395 5AA. Peter Godfrey.
It's 19 minutes past 5 now, Thursday morning, another damp and cool one. Let's take a look at how things are in New Zealand and what's happening in New Zealand. Selwyn Manning from livenews.co.nz. How's things across the ditch today, Selwyn?
Well, we've all got up to a very foggy kind of day up here in Auckland. All the lowland areas of Auckland are certainly, low mist.
Low
Looks
mist.
like we're living in the clouds, but down at sea level.
Okay, there you go. All right, the long white land of the long white cloud, isn't it? So
We renamed it after last night's fiasco in the Parliament, Peter, the land of the long dark eye cloud.
I'm guessing this is getting back to that issue you've been discussing quite a while. The legislation the Nationals getting through on the basically spying on Kiwis.
Yes,
so
exactly.
it's got through, has it?
Yeah, there's last night National-led government passed this GCSB legislation. It now gives the government the right to have its electronic spy agency with extensive new powers, including being able to lawfully spy on Kiwis, permanent residents here, all immigrants, tourists, businesses, NGOs, anything you can think
so
of.
Basically anyone in New Zealand.
Yeah. And the issue over the last couple of months, it's built up, and the New Zealand public has been polled specifically on whether or not it supports the government's moves and its justifications. And those justifications are the cyber security, that the government needs to move on that there's cyber espionage going on, it wants to track potential terrorists that are here, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the justifications, and it says that the GCSB electronic spy agency that traditionally has spied on people like yourselves, Peter, people in the Pacific, people, it feeds into that echelon Five Eyes network, which Australia, US, Britain, Canada, and New Zealand is all a part of. Now, it's turned its attention onto New Zealanders. Now, the public, as I was saying, has been polled on that extensively in the last 2 weeks, and the polls come out ranging between around 75% opposed to this law and 85%. So that's the range. The government's obviously been on a hiding to nowhere and trying to actually sell the reasons to the New Zealand public. But what's happened in the last week and significant, last night, obviously, the bill went through the House. It was passed with a slim majority. It was expected to pass with one vote. Down to that independent, not independent now, he's a national United Future leader.
Party, yeah.
But the Māori Party put in its party votes to oppose the bill, but it only apparently had 2 of its MPs within the precinct, so it was only able to vote 2 out of its 3. So a formality was there, and the thing passed by 61 votes to 59, but still a very slim majority. Anyway, what's occurred here now, and what we've seen the last week, is the IT sector has come out strongly against these new spy powers, and it includes one of New Zealand's leading ISP chief executives, a guy called C.B. Woodhouse. Now, C.B., he started years ago, in the 90s, he started an internet ISP company in his parents' garage, out the back of the house. And it built up to being one of New Zealand's largest, and he ended up selling it to the government itself a few years ago now, for about 26 million or 24 million in that kind of area. And now he's started up a new one. But he has come out and he has said that the government spies will make him sign now the law's in effect. Well, the new law is a tandem law, but when it's all gone through, he'll have to sign non-disclosure forms saying that he will not be able to tell people what's going on, that the government is now able to place equipment at his ISP and instruct him to hand over any de-encryption keys so that his client's private data is then able to be deciphered by the government. He'll also have to ensure that there are no backdoor accesses to any network hardware. And he says if he refuses this, there'll be fines up to $500,000 per day.
Fairly heavy-handed approach.
That certainly is.
Being taken. So So he's sort of the main spokesperson for the IT sector or the ISP sector. Are others saying similar things?
Another guy called Thomas Beagle has been fighting this. He's with Tech Liberty Group. Now, they represent a lot of tech, obviously by the name, a lot of tech people, and Thomas Beagle has put in submissions against this bill that passed last night, and also another one that's going to come before the House in a few weeks, telecommunications interception bill, which tag teams up with the law the legislation that passed last night into law. Now, he's been submitting on those, and all of these things that C.B. Woodhouse has just kind of alluded that he's talking about is what Thomas Beagle has been saying too, and kind of really saying that New Zealanders are screwed right down now. I guess what it's showing, Peter, is that this culture of spying that has crept up on New Zealanders, not just in this area of electronic spying, but in revelations that the Prime Minister's office has basically had the emails of other cabinet ministers trawled through. It has acquired all the data relating to the movements of political journalists in the parliamentary complex. That's hunted down the person that it believes leaked a confidential document. All of this type of thing, the spying of a very well-known New Zealand combat journalist who's been up there reporting in Afghanistan, the spying of him in his communications with people like me, with people like many other journalists, many other people that have been in contact with him. So this whole thing has given Kiwis the creeps, that suddenly it seems that the government's out of control, and that's something that is obviously fueling resistance to these things as the public and population has polled on it.
Yeah. So where to now? So if it's the legislation's passed, obviously it's in place, what happens now?
What happens now?
Kiwis have got to be careful what they say.
Oh, either that or, politically what is happening is the opposition parties, the leaders, mainly all the leaders, including Labour, the Greens, the Mana Party, and New Zealand First, they all attended a public meeting that was held at the Auckland Town Hall on Monday night. And it was packed out.
Yeah.
It has a capacity of just under 2,000 people. Now, that was packed out. It was to the rafters, and people were turned away outside. And I think the opposition party sniffed the mood of the country there on Monday night, and they certainly have firmed up their policies. The Greens were always going to push to have these new laws, these new powers repealed, rolled back. But now you're seeing the Labour Party starting to talk in that way as well, and it's certainly saying that it's going to have a complete overhaul of the intelligence agencies in New Zealand as soon as it becomes government. Now, the Greens are edging it to say, OK, as soon as we all get into government, let's roll it back to where it was, then have the inquiries and the investigations into how we restructure all this stuff. Where they're going with it sounds like they want a Kiwi-styled intelligence apparatus that's there for Kiwis, not a foreign-led one. The perception here is this is the dictates of the United States, and New Zealand's complying to it.
There we go. It's ongoing. I see you've written a piece for Al Jazeera on this as well.
Yeah, no, I was commissioned to do a piece that ran not last night, the night before, so right on the edge of going into the House for its last reading and passing.
And on a final note, not sure whether we should bring this up or not, the rugby.
The rugby, I knew
last
you were
week
going to say
in Sydney, the All Blacks Australia, bit of a thumping 47-29. The All Blacks beat Australia, but another game this weekend in Wellington, I think. But it seems to be a bit of optimism from the Wallabies.
Yes, there is. I think, the Wallabies have kind of tested under the new coach. They've tested the All Blacks. They know that where the All Blacks' strengths are. They certainly were exposed to the weaknesses in the Wallaby pack. The All Blacks are weak in the lineouts and in the scrum, so the Wallabies have got something to work with there. Holding on to that ball seemed to be the challenge for the Wallabies. So here in New Zealand, they won't be complacent. On Saturday, it'll be a blindingly good test match, I think.
Absolutely.
Peter, and if people in South Australia and Adelaide want to have a look at this rugby, it'll be a good test, as they always are between the two.
May the best team win.
May the best team win. And in the sitting back there, because this is a four-nation type competition, and there's Argentina and there's South Africa now. South Africa beat Argentina last weekend by 73-13, so wait until we all come up against those guys.
Yeah, indeed. All right, Selwyn, we'll catch you again next week. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Selwyn Manning in New Zealand. Head to livenews.co.nz for more. Thanks for your company right through the night. Anne Stone with all the latest news, sport and weather next. Then Leith Forrest takes us to breakfast with Keith Conlon and Jane Riley.
Hurry into Dave Potter for their biggest Honda sale for 2013 and amazing